Hi, this is Ashley Burchett with the Writing Center at Southeastern, and today we will be exploring epigraphs, often used by writers to begin essays, poems, chapters, and books in a stylish and thought-provoking way. The word epigraph is a word that you may not hear very often. Thus, let us begin by clarifying what an epigraph is by first distinguishing what an epigraph is not. An epigraph is not a pithy saying or remark expressing an idea in a clever and amusing way. That is an epigram. An epigraph is not a phrase or statement written as a memorial of a deceased individual, such as the inscription on a tombstone. That is an epitaph. What is an epigraph, then? An epigraph is derived from the Greek roots epi, meaning on, and graphe, meaning writing, and can be defined as a quotation that establishes a theme of your paper, as Turabian, a manual for writers, stipulates. Turabian is Chicago style and compatible with MLA and all other styles. A writer may utilize a quotation, an excerpt, or a full text of a poem, phrase, lyric, or definition as his or her epigraph. When, where, and why should writers implement epigraphs into their writing? When are epigraphs appropriate? Many writers use epigraphs to begin essays, articles, chapters, and books. Where should writers place their chosen epigraph? Epigraphs are appropriate at the beginning of a writer's work. Why would writers choose to utilize epigraphs in their work? Writers may choose to utilize an epigraph to suggest the general theme or tone of what is to come in their remaining text. Writers can also employ epigraphs to serve as a preface for their following text. Another reason a writer may choose to include an epigraph in his or her writing is to incite a comparison between the epigraph and the rest of the writer's text, or to more broadly connect their own text to the literary conversation. How do writers format epigraphs? First, there are conventions for formatting epigraphs as block quotations with a blank line before and after the blocked epigraph. Second, on the line below it, the quotation, give the author and the title and possibly the date, flush right, and preceded by an em dash or two hyphens. Finally, no other citation is needed, but a writer may include a brief classical style citation. Let's take a look at a few epigraphs from literature that can be utilized as exemplars for writers who are exploring epigraphs in their writing. This first epigraph from C.S. Lewis begins his book Surprised by Joy this way: surprised by joy, impatient as the wind, from the poet Wordsworth. Lewis utilizes this epigraph from the poet Wordsworth to both begin his book and to introduce the main theme of his book, Surprised by Joy. Lewis's book title is even inspired by his chosen epigraph. This second epigraph from T.S. Eliot begins his poem The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock with a quotation from Dante's Inferno. The original epigraph in the image is written in Italian, which translates to, "If I but thought that my response were made to one perhaps returning to the world, this tongue of flame would cease to flicker. But since, up from these depths, no one has yet returned alive, if what I hear is true, I answer without fear of being shamed." The character speaking from this passage in Dante's Inferno is trapped in hell and only tells his story to Dante because no one has yet to return to earth from hell. So the character has no fear of shame in telling his story since he is destined to remain in hell and assumes the same of Dante. Eliot seems to somewhat ironically compare this character to the character in his poem, Prufrock, whose first line in Eliot's poem invites the reader to the beginning of him sharing his love song. This final epigraph is found at the beginning of the book Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. She cites Milton's Paradise Lost. "Did I request thee, maker, from my clay, to mold me man? Did I solicit thee from darkness to promote me?" Shelley's chosen epigraph references a quotation from Milton's text where a human recognizes his maker and questions his conception by the maker's choosing. Shelley's choice of this particular text from Milton as her epigraph serves as an ironic preface and contrast to the theme of her novel, which explores the detrimental effects of a human as maker. When utilizing an epigraph, the writer should make a clear transition from the epigraph to his or her text. This transition can usually be accomplished through 2 or 3 sentences. 1, introducing or explicating the quotation, and 2, providing the significance of the quotation in relation to the remainder of the writer's paper. Let's examine another epigraph example, this time from a student writer who explores utilizing an epigraph in her college research paper. Let's just examine the formatting of the epigraph for now. The writer places her epigraph below the title and formats it as a block quotation, single-spaced and indented with a blank line before and after the epigraph. On the line below the epigraph, the writer gives the author and the title, flush right, and preceded by an em dash. The writer then proceeds with her introduction paragraph. If we revisit the example, we notice this epigraph execution by the student writer. The writer uses a quote from Bakhtin in an epigraph to introduce the idea of voice and specifically the theme of heteroglossia, which is woven throughout the rest of the paper. The green highlighted text shows where the writer introduces the epigraph quotation and explains that the quotation defines a feature of the novel. The blue highlighted text demonstrates how the writer further explicates the quotation. Finally, the yellow highlighted text illustrates how the writer provides the significance of the quotation in relation to the rest of the paper. For further aid with research writing, please explore our channel to find more instructional videos like this one. This has been Ashley Burchett with the Writing Center at Southeastern. Thanks for watching.